Guys, Sean Ross Sapp here for the Wrestling Inc. podcast alongside new co-host on Wednesdays and Thursdays, Rob McCarron. If you all didn't get to see him last night on our basically our non-Raw podcast, say hi to the people, Rob.
Hi, I'm Rob again here for the second night in a row. So I'm either very special or Sean's all out of options.
He was actually my first choice, you guys. Just so you all know, I will put Rob over. He does great work on Shake Them Ropes. Follow him on Twitter at Shake Them Ropes. I still can't see your nameplate, so maybe it's not showing up. I don't know.
I don't know what to do. I turn everything on, and then what happens? Technology decides. I try to be so nice to technology, and what does it do? It treats me like I'm 80, and I'm not. I'm 30. I'm right in the prime of life. And I can't get it to work. I don't know what's happening.
I feel your pain. I also hit 30 last year. Not too happy about that. Guys, you can use the hashtag Wrestling Inc. podcast to ask us questions. I'll also be fielding questions on the YouTube live event video as well as Twitter. So we will get to those. I know sometimes I neglect you guys, but not anymore. I'm keeping my eye on it, doing a little bit of a better job. But Rob, the big story coming out of Smackdown this week, I wanted to talk about WrestleMania. And we had speculated it for a while, but it's set Charlotte versus Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch. And this is a month out. They have 4 matches announced. Is that surprising to you? Did you think there'd be more or less? Or is this about right?
It's not surprising to me. They don't always do this. The big 2 maybe by now, but we're coming up on WrestleMania. They have a lot of tickets to sell. When you don't have the biggest marquee matchup, you have to have a complete card. Like if you have John Cena and The Rock a year out, you don't really have to necessarily announce too much later. You have a couple of weeks before WrestleMania to fill out the card. Right now, Roman Reigns and Triple H is hardly a super marquee matchup to fill up AT&T Stadium. So I'm not surprised that they're blowing out a card here. And I'm not surprised that they're announcing matches on SmackDown, because for the first time in a long time, as much as they talk about how they want to make SmackDown more important, it seems likely right now that, ever since Mauro Ranallo came on and they went to USA, they're keeping that promise to themselves. They are making SmackDown more important.
There's at least one newsworthy thing on almost every single SmackDown. If anything, like there are some shows, like obviously if an episode of WWE Superstars happens, we're not going to have a news story that comes out of that. We're just going to do the recap. And that used to often be the case with SmackDown. We'd be able to post the Fallout videos and that's it. There is at least one thing almost on every single SmackDown show this year that has been newsworthy, and I appreciate that. I wish it could be on more of a level playing field with Raw, but they have stepped it up, and for that I am grateful. Also, we had the announcement that Brock Lesnar is going to take on Bray Wyatt at Roadblock. This was a match speculated and planned for WrestleMania. What do you think of this booking idea?
Bray Wyatt and Brock Lesnar, I never thought was going to be the WrestleMania match. We didn't know what Brock Lesnar was going to do, but I never thought that Bray Wyatt was actually going to get that slot. They did the one angle at the end of Raw where Bray Wyatt kind of took everyone out, including Roman Reigns, and then really they all ganged up on Brock. So that was seemingly telling some people that, hey, that must be the match. I just saw it more as, Bray Wyatt was taking out all the giants and taking out all the big guys for possibly the 30-man battle royal. If Bray Wyatt's in that, if he's in that Andre the Giant battle royal, look at him taking out all the giants. It's a good match. I'm disappointed it's not Luke Harper. Honestly, it was originally scheduled to be Luke Harper at Roadblock when it was not a network special. That's the match I would much more rather see. But now they're getting Bray Wyatt. It's going to be a fun, I'm guessing a 4-minute destruction. Honestly, I don't see a long Brock Lesnar match happening on this show. It's exciting. It certainly adds more credence to Roadblock. I mean, Bray Wyatt, for all the shit that he gets sometimes, has been built up in the last 3 years as a somewhat marquee name. He's on the very bottom of that top tier, and now he's facing Brock Lesnar. It should be a good one.
The difference between Harper and Wyatt is probably another 2 minutes of destruction, I would say. I would imagine that Bray maybe gets another minute or two that Luke Harper wouldn't have gotten, but I wish that we could get, a much longer Lesnar Harper match. And Harper obviously he has the talent level and even the mic skills to work something like that, but you can't overcome bad booking. And that's what these guys are a victim of. Also, it's become same old with Bray Wyatt, and it drives me nuts. His promos, I will give them this. It's went from the 10-minute in-ring promo where he's out in front of the crowd and they're chanting what, to about 2 minutes in a backstage segment where they don't chant what at him. So I guess there's that, but these guys desperately need a new Ripple.
Yeah, the Wyatt family has done their thing for a long period of time. They still get a reaction for the most part, a reaction like, oh, something's about to happen. It may not be a long-held reaction while they're out there, but they still get a reaction. Brock Lesnar's probably going to take out, he's done this. When he wrestled Kofi Kingston at Beast of the East, he ended up taking out the entire New Day. I see a similar thing here. I think he's going to take out the entire Wyatt family.
Yeah, I want to ask you, where do you think the Wyatt family goes for WrestleMania?
I think they're all in that battle royal. I don't think there's going to be a singles match for Bray this year. I think they're all in the battle royal, and I would not be shocked at all if that battle royal comes down to all 4 members of the Wyatt family against each other.
I think that would be fantastic. We had somebody on Twitter saying, has the Wyatt family turned into more of a vehicle for Braun Strowman? I think for a little while it was, and then whatever the plan was, they have pumped the brakes on that completely. Or they put the brakes on it completely.
And maybe part of it is because Vince McMahon is on TV and he's got another angle, so he's not really concentrating on the other stories going around. He's kind of leaving that to some of the others on his creative staff. I don't see Braun Strowman being this big marquee guy, assuming the premise that he's in the Andre the Giant Battle Royal, assuming he's in that, because I don't know what else you do with Braun Strowman. I don't know if he wins. And if they come down to the Wyatt family, I could see Bray Wyatt winning. I could see Luke Harper winning. Can't see Rowan winning. Right now, I would say it's 50-50 that Braun's going to win that match, but we never guessed Cesaro would win the first one. And, look what happened. They finally did the Big Show wins the Battle Royal angle the last year.
Which we also didn't predict.
We didn't predict, but hey, would they do the giant wins? The guy that you expect to win winning 2 years in a row? I don't know. Does Braun Strowman toss out Big Show to finish it off? You don't know. The Battle Royal this year, if they do it again, which I would think they will, if they do it again, I can't make a solid prediction right now, and I probably wouldn't even be able to make a solid prediction the day of.
Yeah, I will say one thing for Braun Strowman. His strong suit is taking a spot over the top rope, which he obviously practiced for weeks ahead of the Royal Rumble. And I've seen him do about 3 or 4 times now. So, I mean, he's good at one thing, falling over the top rope. So at least you have that. I mean, there have been battle royals where they booked guys who literally could not go over the top rope. So at least there's not that issue, but it seems really weird given his positioning on the last couple of WrestleManias that Bray Wyatt very well might not be in a singles match.
It is weird. Like, Bray Wyatt's not the type of name that when you first think of Bray Wyatt, oh, this is a guy who should be in a singles match. But yeah, wrestling John Cena, wrestling The Undertaker in your first 2 WrestleManias. I mean, good for him. In your first 2 real WrestleMania singles matches, this guy went to the top and then went to the top again. And now he's a little bit back down. I mean, it's a down year for Bray Wyatt. It's a down year for the Wyatt family in general. Who would have thought that once they got back together? But all the power to him. I'm liking the way the WrestleMania card is coming together, honestly. You know, Brock Lesnar and Dean Ambrose is one of the better options of what they had with Brock. Roman Reigns and Triple H is a match I do want to see. I mean, Roman Reigns more than held his own against Brock last year. So there's a lot of matches on this card I'm excited to see. You mentioned the triple threat for the Divas Championship. That is a match that not only, should deliver in the ring, with a month to go, but it has a backstory. It has an easy, ready-to-be-told backstory of the last year and a half. It's not a Divas match that's just thrown together. This is coming up from NXT. I'm sure they're going to use that footage, and it'll be one of the more anticipated matches for those who were kind of disappointed going into WrestleMania, thinking they wouldn't have that little, that hardcore match to really dive into. And now they're getting plenty of it. I
think that card looks good. I think the Dallas card, which we won't give the NXT Dallas card, we won't give spoilers, but
oh my God.
That looks amazing.
Oh God, I'm getting the meat sweats right now just thinking about it.
Roadblock looks good too. Dean Ambrose versus Triple H is going to be fun.
Well, on that, it looks good.
Yeah.
I'm still going in expecting a little bit slightly above a house show. You know, I'm expecting a DQ in the main event. I'm expecting a short Brock Lesnar match where he beats up all the Wyatts. I'm not anticipating anywhere close to like the Elimination Chamber show. You know, I don't think we're going to get an end to anything on this show, but it'll be fun. It'll be a nice, easy 2.5 hours to watch. It's just not going to be a show where 2 days later you're really thinking about it too much.
We also get Enzo and Cass versus the Revival, which I think is going to be a lot of fun. Always
the entrance alone will be great going in the Ricoh Coliseum in Toronto. I mean, Enzo and Cass in what I'm thinking is going to be their farewell.
I'm still holding out hope.
They're not winning that match, Sean.
American Alpha. I hope.
No, they're not winning that match.
I don't think they are, but I can hope. I can.
You can do that. Yes, you can do that.
I can hope.
A new hope, if you will.
Oh God, I've never watched Star Wars.
When the calendar struck 2016, it was the first year ever that began with me having seen all of the Star Wars movies. I did not watch any of the Star Wars movies in full until a couple of weeks before episode 7 came out. My girlfriend sat me down and said, "You're watching these movies. I'm forcing you to." And, I had seen 4, 5, I had seen 2 and 3 were the only ones I had ever seen before. And then she made me watch 1, 4, 5, 6. So now I know what's going on in Star Wars. And that was out of nowhere.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm too far gone. Never going to watch those. Not my type of thing.
What about the Matrix movies? Because that's the one that
I did watch those.
Yeah, see, because I've never seen the Matrix movies, and that's the one where I really get the weird look. I got weird looks about never seeing Star Wars, but for some reason, with just the age group we're in, Sean.
Yeah,
I always got the weirdest looks when I told people I had never seen any of the Matrix movies ever.
Well, I mean, you remember how big those were when they came out. It was like, this is going to revolutionize film type of thing. So I can see that.
Did it revolutionize film?
It didn't really. I mean, it was a big movie, a big series.
We have statues to Keanu Reeves everywhere.
We should.
That's probably true. Right next to the Jean-Claude Van Damme. I want the statues to fight each other.
Oh, Jean-Claude Van Damme would win that one.
Yeah. There's a TNA Slammiversary match right there for you. Jean-Claude Van Damme.
There's no way they could afford those guys. The statues?
Just the statues.
That still might be a little expensive.
Hire back TJ Perkins, have put him in the mask again, but it's a Jean-Claude Van Damme mask, and have him go out and fight the actual Keanu Reeves. They might be able to afford him. Fight the actual Keanu Reeves. And while that match is going on, Sean, Billy Corgan is playing a concert in the background.
That would do at least 100 fans, I think.
That's buys.
Yeah.
Buys.
Yeah, it is buys. It's at least a few buys. They could also probably, who else could they afford?
Oh, are we going to play the TNA can afford game?
Eric Roberts.
Ooh, Eric Roberts has been in stuff lately, man.
I know he has.
He was back. He's doing TV again.
He was in 12 Rounds 2, I think.
Was he in 12 Rounds 2?
They sent me a review copy, and I was supposed to interview Eric Roberts, and
oh my gosh,
never happened.
Oh, that's a shame, because that would be your best. I mean, I love the Muhammad Hassan stuff, Sean, but Eric Roberts would have been your best one. He was in. Do you watch Suits? If you watch Suits, he was a recurring character last season.
I don't watch Suits.
No,
Suits it was so funny. I had this interview with Hassan, and it's like questions so easy. And we are a pro wrestling site, but we get stuff like this from non-wrestling people quite often. Oh, sure. So here I am, like, what do I ask this guy? Your daughter's really hot.
Oh God. Don't offend.
Your sister is way more famous than you. You did a movie with Steve Austin and Randy Orton. Now, if I were an entertainment guy, I guess I kind of am, but if I covered TV and movies, that'd be one thing, but we have to have at least quite a few pertinent questions towards. It's just, I was like, man, I've never been more excited that an interview got canceled. And I hate to say that. Yeah. Because I was just like, I didn't know how I was going to carry a conversation on with him.
I get you. No, that's completely understandable. If I was interviewing the host in me, if I was getting Eric Roberts on a pro wrestling site, I literally don't have any rundown. I just go, I'm saying hi. If it's awkward at first, great. You know, if it's an awkward interview, fantastic. Because honestly, that's what everyone is coming in to expect anyway. Or they're coming in to expect Eric Roberts to go into TV star mode where he just talks about his films and like every answer is about how he hung out with a famous actor and everything. Like I was doing a movie with Johnny Depp and we did this on the golf course. Ha ha ha. And it was hilarious. No, awkwardness would be what keeps people watching. They might be cringing, but I would go in with no rundown whatsoever. And I would probably just ask him, you know, what's his favorite Melina and Alicia Fox match?
If it were on video, I would have loved to have done that. Like, because the awkwardness, you can convey that awkwardness much better. And I like doing different stuff for the site. I interviewed Matt Hardy in character, although I'm going to say he's not that much different out of character, guys. But yeah, that one fell through. And I remember telling Raj, and I was like, well, they gave me this Eric Roberts interview. And he's like, oh, cool. And I said, not really cool, because I have to watch the Marine 3 or 12 rounds 2 or whatever it was. And he goes, oh, that sucks. So
no, I'm telling you what, I'm pretending I watched the movie, but I'm probably watching the trailer, and that's it. And I'm going to talk about whatever I saw in that trailer, even if he's not in the trailer one bit.
What's the best WWE Films movie you've ever seen?
Oh boy. I tell you what, it's one where there wasn't even a WWE star in it. The Cell, I think it was, with Halle Berry.
Really? Oh, that's The Call. That was a good movie.
The Call was great.
Except for that ridiculous ending.
Well,
where they left the dude alive. Come on now.
Halle Berry
call the cops.
She was John Cena. Superman strength. She was going to do everything herself, but she was not going to do a bad thing and kill somebody. She was going to do the good thing. Halle Berry was John Cena in that movie. It was perfect. I never saw the Kane movies, the See No Evils. I've seen bits and pieces of John Cena's Marine movie because it would be on USA every once in a while.
Yeah.
But no, I think The Call. The Call was it? Yeah, The Call would be my favorite of the ones I've seen. I saw Bad Santa. I was one of those suckers who watched Bad Santa before Raw.
Bad Santa?
No, the one with Paige.
I was gonna say Bad Santa is an all-time classic. That's
Kissing Santa or something. I don't know.
Yeah. That's a different one. Santa's Little Helper.
Santa's Little Helper. I saw that one. It was horrible. It was the worst.
Yeah, Bad Santa had Billy Bob Thornton in it. It was fantastic. Yeah,
whole different movie. Now, how good would Bad Santa be if I don't know the actor's name, but the elf one in the movie? What if that was Paige and Billy Bob Thornton? How good is that?
Ooh, I don't know. I don't think so.
Well, she's his type, you know.
Yeah, that's true. And I think he might be her type.
Might be.
From the stuff I've seen her send Scott Hall, maybe he's her type as well. Did you ever watch The Condemned?
No, but you know what? The Condemned is one that I want to see. I just haven't seen it.
It's the similarities between that and like the Hunger Games, which is wildly popular, are strikingly. And I'm not saying obviously that they ripped off The Condemned, but the book was published a few months later. There were a lot of things similar because I mean it's a good concept, but obviously when you have good writers and a good studio and all that stuff, it becomes much better. Also, technically, The Scorpion King, The Rundown, and Walking Tall were WWE films, technically, because The Rock was in them, and at that point, everything he was attached to was like considered a WWE film.
Yeah.
But they don't count.
It doesn't change my answer, but The Rundown would probably be number 2. I was a big fan of The Rundown. I didn't like Walking Tall. And Scorpion King, I never liked any of them, but I kept watching them for some reason. I think I did watch The Scorpion King, the one with The Rock in it, because of The Rock. But yeah, The Rundown was fun. If you just go in and watch it, it's kind of like watching Raw sometimes. Just go in, don't care what happens, don't think about it too much. Just watch Sean William Scott be Sean William Scott, and watch The Rock catch him. Yeah.
Also, we have a question. Since I figured, maybe we should talk about wrestling. Also, David Otunga was in the call. Somebody just reminded me of that. He made a quick appearance.
Oh, I was trying to think of, okay, this was the movie where they didn't focus on a star, so who was shoehorned in, and I couldn't remember because that's what they do. When they want to make an actual good WWE Films movie, they just kind of put someone in the background, who's technically in the movie. Because wasn't Brodus Clay in one of these movies?
Yes, he was.
Yeah,
I think No One Lives. Yeah,
he was just in the movie. Talk about an awkward interview. When I had Tyrus on my show, super awkward for the first 5 minutes because you can tell he didn't want to be there. And he's like, why am I doing this? Like, it's probably just because I was the only one who asked at that certain time. And he was like, what am I doing? And then my co-host Jeff had the bright idea, and it ended up working out great to talk no wrestling. Let's talk about your football past. Let's talk about your body work, your bodyguard work. And let's not talk wrestling at all, because wrestling obviously is not what you want to talk about. So let's do that. I just love awkward beginnings because that will test your mettle, Sean. It will test your mettle to see how great you are when you can come back from the awkward abyss.
Imagine David Otunga if somebody were to say, what did you do in your lifetime? Yeah. The way that he could fudge his resume of success. Obviously, he's already a successful man. He's Harvard educated, a lawyer, WWE superstar, and he can also attach, like, in a movie with Halle Berry, married to Jennifer Hudson, and former WWE tag champion with, I think, was it John Cena? He was, or maybe it was different. Maybe I think Heath Slater became tag champions with John Cena at one point. I
forget exactly. There was something going on with that angle where John Cena and the Nexus were intertwined, and there was something going on with the tag team titles. But you're right, and let's not. I don't think anyone should go out and disparage David Otunga. He's doing what he wants. He obviously wants to be a part of WWE because this guy has options, plenty of them. He could do nothing if he didn't want to. He could go back to being a trial lawyer. He was very successful. He could be in entertainment. He wants to be there. And I'll never begrudge someone who really tries hard and wants to be there, because he is great on those pre-shows. If they would just quit trying to make Byron Saxton a thing, and if ADL ever decides to leave, there is your guy to take over on commentary, because he would be excellent.
Byron Saxton is just useless in the role that he has. Maybe he's got something else. I don't know. But his role on that show is pretty much agreeing with whoever the babyface commentator is and saying obvious things.
His role is getting mocked mercifully and mercilessly, and not taking it, and just being, smiling, sitting there, taking everything, and not fighting back, I should say. That's his role. And he seems like a nice guy. He's obviously a company guy. He does whatever they want. But no, he shouldn't be there. I think he kind of has the Corey Graves thing, where he was probably, not fit to wrestle. So they hired him on because, we like you. We want to give you this deal. And I don't think he's any good. Nothing against him personally. I don't think he's any good.
Yeah, if we ever criticize anybody, obviously not personal.
Performance only. Performance only.
Also, somebody said...
Unless it's Kevin Dunn, that asshole.
Yeah. Somebody also said Legendary with John Cena was good. I agree. I like that movie. Which ironically was John Cena as an amateur wrestling coach, which I thought was kind of funny. But... yeah. Also, I'm going to field this question on YouTube. Hi, guys on YouTube, by the way. I'm not ignoring you guys. I am here. My question is Shane really going to get power if he wins, or is it just a storyline? I think it's a storyline, but if he stays around long term, I wouldn't be surprised if he did get to move into some sort of executive role, but not based on this match in particular.
Yeah, I don't think... Would I be shocked if Shane is ever in the company hierarchy again at some point in the future? No. But right now, I don't think it's there. I think they just needed some type of spark. And I'm still only 60-40 on the fact that Shane's even going to wrestle.
Yeah, I mean, he's training like he's going to wrestle. He's got GSP's Muay Thai coach.
Oh, yeah. GSP could use GSP's Muay Thai coach right now. Shane, he's an old guy. He's training to stay in shape. That's great. I mean, he's a big guy too, but he's 46. And I say old guy, which is crazy to think, because 3 of the 4 main eventers at WrestleMania are that age. Undertaker, Triple H, Shane McMahon. The young gun is 32-year-old or whatever Roman Reigns. Good for Shane. I'm not fully convinced. Here we are still more than a month out from WrestleMania 32. I am not convinced that John Cena is not coming back. If you're looking at the videos, if you're looking that he has a show to promote, I am not convinced one bit that John Cena is not going to be able to work a cell match 1 month from now at WrestleMania. As long as they clear him to do the one match, because it would be one and done. Like John Cena would come in for WrestleMania and then go away again to still rehab that injury. But skipping WrestleMania, John Cena for an injury where he seems okay to lift 400 pounds on his back, I don't buy it.
Also, Roman Reigns is 30, Rob.
He's 30. I'm giving Roman Reigns 2 years he hasn't earned yet. Okay, that's my fault, Roman. You are he's my age.
He's my age.
What has gone wrong with our lives where Roman's where he is? Oh, it's the looks. Never mind.
Oh, yeah, the looks and the athletic ability and the talent and the athletic pedigree and the hard work, I think, is probably mainly it. I think that's pretty much the differences.
Way to really kill my ego.
Just saying that's another thing. I've said this on the podcast many times. They try to make this guy an underdog. They try to make a 6'3", 265-pound millionaire who had a famous Hall of Fame family and made it to the NFL and is handsome. They try to make this guy an underdog. And I'm like, if this guy is the underdog, I don't know what the hell everybody else is.
Did you ever watch True Blood, Sean?
No, I didn't. Okay.
Well, then you won't get this reference. Maybe other people will. Joe Manganiello is an actor who was on True Blood. I can't honestly say what he's been in. How I Met Your Mother. He was Brad in How I Met Your Mother. I don't know what else he would be in that most people would know. But if you watch True Blood, he was a werewolf on that show. He looks like Roman Reigns. If Roman Reigns was not Samoan and was just basic white, they look exactly alike. You can look it up on your phones, look it up on the Googles. They look exactly the same. Joe Manganiello was never cast as an underdog. He is always the guy that is going to save everybody and beat up all the bad guys. That's the guy. Roman Reigns should be saving everybody. Although they've kind of run its course with the Dean Ambrose saving, because at one point Dean Ambrose just either has to fight for himself or Roman has to stop, coming in at the end of every Dean Ambrose fight. They just don't book him right. They don't book him like he looks. You can make a babyface out of that. You made a babyface out of The Rock. You can make a babyface out of the way he looks. It doesn't matter. They're just not doing it very well. And although saying Triple H has been booked like a face, where was it on Raw this week where Triple H did the exact same angle to Dean Ambrose and people booed Triple H? It's because they're invested in Dean Ambrose. I don't know how they are, because they're booking Dean Ambrose like the biggest heel alive. I mean, Dean Ambrose loses the Fastlane main event, which was for a title shot. And what happens? He whines and complains and tries to goad Triple H into giving him the title shot. And now Roman Reigns wins the #1 contendership, but who gets the first shot? Dean Ambrose. So everything up top is all messed up.
Yeah, for good buddies and best friends, Roman Reigns and Dean Ambrose have been pretty crappy to each other over the last couple of years.
Yeah, passive aggressive maybe. I mean, they're like when they're next to each other, yeah, I got your back too. But the other getting beat down and Roman Reigns not helping out right away. Dean Ambrose, snaking his championship match. There's a lot of, finally Roman Reigns goes out with an injury. What does Dean Ambrose do? Dean Ambrose tries to snake that title away from him because he can't win it on his own. He can't win the #1 contendership matches. He can't win the Survivor Series. The only way he can get that title is if Roman Reigns is out of the picture. There's a story there if they want to do Dean and Roman, in earnest for the rest of the year. But I don't know if they know what they want to do at the Raw after WrestleMania right now. I don't know if they know what they want to do the Raw before WrestleMania right now.
I agree. Like I mentioned at the top of the show, I'm kind of surprised they had this many matches set ahead of time, a month ahead of time. When was the last time 4 weeks out they had 4 matches set? And one of those matches was set on Smackdown, which we will talk about in a moment. But guys, this show is always brought to you by onnit.com/wrestling. Go to onnit.com/wrestling, save 10% on great products like Alpha Brain, Shroom Tech, T+. I'm pretty sure you don't even have to train to be a pro wrestler. You can just take a bunch of T Plus and Alpha Brain, and you can become world champion. That's at least what Adam Cole told me in an interview. Go back and look at it. That's what he told me. Alpha Brain and T Plus. That's it. If you don't like the product, send it back. Onnit will give you your money back. Onnit.com/wrestling. Save 10%. Great stuff. They're my favorite supplement company. And I'm going to be going and checking out a bunch of those this weekend at the Arnold Classic, which I will be talking to you all about here in a moment as well. Also, ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc, used by WWE superstars like AJ Styles, Chris Jericho, John Cena, even guys out of wrestling. Steven Richards, I saw him come back at 40-something for an ROH TV title match a few months ago. He uses ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Go over there, get a great deal on the Max Pack. Support the podcast. If you like the podcast, help us out a little bit. Somebody says, Onnit gives me wet dreams. Me too, buddy. I love it. And you know what? The reason is T+. As Stone Cold says, it'll get your flagpole at full salute. Yep.
I'm gonna have to go out and buy a case right now.
It's fantastic. I love it.
That to me.
I'm sure they could. But before we get into SmackDown, guys, we have, like I mentioned, I'll be at the Arnold Classic or the Arnold Sports Festival, they call it, tomorrow. Well, I won't be there tomorrow. I'll be getting into town tomorrow. But myself and my fiance, who will be basically my assistant as I get interviews and pictures and reports, will be there Saturday and Sunday covering the NXT events, going and seeing wrestlers who are at the expo. If you all are there, come by, say hi to us, talk with us, let us know what you like about the podcast, what you like about the site, anything like that. I am way excited for that. Also, afterwards, UFC 196. We will be back here after UFC 196. At least myself and Raj will. Rob, you are going to be at UFC 196. How excited are you for that?
I'm pretty excited. I'm pretty excited for the weekend as a whole. I'll be around the craziness of Las Vegas, so I will not be appearing on this podcast. Definitely not appearing on this podcast at 10 o'clock Las Vegas time. So I hope you have fun with that. But no, I'm excited for it. I'm excited. And to answer a question from earlier, David Otunga, 2-time WWE Tag Team Champion, once with Michael McGillicuddy and the other with Mr. Jonathan R. Cena.
There you go. Quite the resume Mr. Otunga has.
Tag champ as the Nexus and tag champ as the new Nexus.
Ooh, that's special. I'll tell you what's also special. Kevin Owens losing a bunch on TV while he's the Intercontinental Champion. Ambrose needed the win here on SmackDown, but what do you think of Owens being the ones who repeatedly lose as champion?
He
Par
wins
for the course.
Too.
Yeah, he does.
He does win a lot too. The Intercontinental Champion, basically, this is the belt that signifies you're the guy to lose, right? I mean, it killed Wade Barrett's career. It's killed careers before that.
But for a while, it didn't.
You're right. And Kevin Owens is going to get a match at WrestleMania. Now, will it be a multi-man match? Most likely. Will it be a singles match? There's a small chance still that it could be with Kalisto as the U.S. champion there. I'm not really worried that he lost because after all, he did just lose to a guy who's getting the big title shot. So there is a hierarchy there. The guy getting the big title shot probably should beat the Intercontinental Champion because that's telling you that he would, he can really defend and go for this World Heavyweight Championship, and it puts everyone in tears. And Dean Ambrose should be on the higher tier right now. What the question becomes, do you even book the match in the first place?
Yeah.
That's the issue. If, okay, you've booked this match, who should win? Yeah, it's Dean Ambrose. But should Dean Ambrose be wrestling Kevin Owens? He could easily have that same type of match with Sheamus. So that's the question you have to ask yourself. I guess you don't even have to ask yourself. You can just kind of go with it and say, you know what? Kevin Owens got beat up by the Big Show the night before. He's probably hurt. He's probably injured.
I mean, why not have Dean Ambrose beat Sheamus? You could have another pairing of the League of Nations win that tag match. And then you could say, because then you could at least say Dean Ambrose beat a guy who was WWE World Heavyweight Champion a couple of months ago. And at least there's that. One thing I don't like is when people like, and I think Kevin Owens should be winning if he's Intercontinental Champion, but I don't like the notion that everybody or the the perception that everybody says is like, oh, the Intercontinental Champion used to always be this launching pad. No, it didn't. It wasn't for the Texas Tornado or Rick Rude. He didn't get a WWE title after that. He obviously went on to main event. Honky Tonk Man didn't work out for him. Marty Jannetty, did he main event anything? He main evented a Raw against Sid one time.
China.
The Mountie. What happened with that? Tito Santana? Nope. Didn't work that way for Razor Ramon in WWE either, or Jeff Jarrett or anybody like that. So it wasn't always this launching pad. Even in the 80s, Greg Valentine, Don Morocco, people like that. Ricky Steamboat was never really a main eventer in WWE. Obviously, he was in WCW, but yeah, that's a little misleading. Also, we had the Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch situation. Charlotte attacked both girls after what I thought was a pretty good match. Probably it was the best match on the show, in my opinion. I kind of saw it coming. Ric Flair is so damn hilarious. The guy is gold. And people are like, oh, they need to get rid. No, don't get rid of him.
He's enjoying his time.
He's such a natural heel, and he wants to be there, and he helps Charlotte, and he's so funny. He's hilarious.
Well, what you're starting to see on TV sometimes, she doesn't do it every week, but sometimes Charlotte is still in this mode where, like, she's the Flair who should be the focus now, because that's what someone with an ego should be. Like, she loves her dad. Dad's out there helping, but there are some times where she's like, you know, really, Dad? You know, I'm out here trying to do my thing. What are you fooling around for? So I'm looking forward to the moment where Charlotte deepens the heel run and probably, you know, turns on Rick or shoos Rick off after this WrestleMania thing. There's a lot you can do with Charlotte. She's improved in the ring from when she first started. She's not great yet, but she's good enough to be, you know, around in WWE and getting important stuff going her way. So more power to all of them. Ric Flair, keep on doing it, man. I mean, Ric Flair's best times are when he's in the ring wrestling, keeps him out of trouble, keeps all those Flairs out of trouble. So stay on the road. I'm fine with it.
Somebody asked if the Divas title will be changed to the women's title after WrestleMania. I doubt it.
Nah, branding.
Yeah, I wish it would be, but I don't think it will be. And you see there are women like Bayley who she just doesn't give a damn. She said she doesn't care. She just, you know, wants to wrestle. So there's that. Also on SmackDown, AJ Styles beat Kofi Kingston. I thought the real story of this match was he used the flying forearm, which kicks ass, as his finish.
It looks great.
Looks awesome.
And you know what? Kofi Kingston is not on that upper tier like a Chris Jericho, where he can use some of these secondary or even third rung finishers. He can beat Kofi Kingston with that type of move. So this whole Chris Jericho, AJ Styles tag team, wherever it leads, whether it leads to another singles match at WrestleMania, which I'm sure will be okay, but I'm not necessarily needing to see 4 of those singles matches in a month-long span. But whether it leads to a tag team championship match, as long as AJ Styles has a role on WrestleMania, which was one of the big worries with AJ immediately going from big Royal Rumble debut to wrestling Chris Jericho. If one of your worries was we didn't know if AJ would do something important on WrestleMania, it's pretty much confirmed that he will. He's either going to have a big singles match or he's going to be in the tag team hunt. And that's great for me. He doesn't have to be in the main event of WrestleMania 32 for me to be happy.
Yeah, I agree. What do you make of the reports that Chris Jericho fought to have the Styles clash in their match at Fastlane?
Yeah.
But he fought to have it in the match, but he kicked out of it.
Well, you got to pick your battles and you got to know when, you know, you've won and kind of leave it at that. If he had to fight to get the Styles clash in, and I have no doubt, I mean, I've been saying for weeks that most of what's gone on with AJ Styles and Chris Jericho was probably Chris Jericho fighting for it. You know, Chris Jericho never got to wrestle AJ Styles. He never went to TNA when he was outside of WWE. Styles was never around in WWE. So they didn't get a chance to wrestle each other. So I'm sure Chris Jericho was first in line when AJ showed up at that battle, you know, Royal Rumble saying, I want this guy. We can have a program. If you don't know what you're doing with him, give him to me. I've no doubt. And then you have the big match on pay-per-view. I'm sure Chris Jericho wanted that Styles clash in, but he was probably pushed back a little bit from someone backstage, maybe even up as high as Vince, saying, okay, we'll give you this move, but it can't be the finish because we don't want this to be his finisher. So if their idea was we want to make sure you have a secondary finisher, then they have to use that other finisher in the match. We'll give you the Styles Clash. You just can't finish the match with it.
Well, he has now finished matches with 3 different moves, the calf killer, crusher, cutter, whatever you want to call it.
And I love that. Let's, so what if he's not using the Styles Clash all the time? So what? I like when there are multiple finishers that can be used. It gives more suspense for matches later on. If CM Punk was using the Anaconda Vice his entire run, would you be happy about that? No.
I love it. I love it that they're doing like some of these secondary moves are being established as finishes. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. And his flying forearm, if that were his honest to God, people don't kick out of it finish, I'd be happy with that because he does the best one I have ever seen in my entire life. It is amazing. He's been using Hiroki Goto's finish, but not its finish, but one of his signature moves, which I think is a pretty cool nod to that. Elsewhere on the show, League of Nations got a win over the Usos. Cool. Looks like they're still going to do something with New Day because New Day keeps bringing them up. Miz got beat in like a minute or 2 by Dolph Ziggler. So
Great.
something is happening with that.
Ziggler gets trapped in these just endless circles sometimes where it's the 50-50 booking one day. The next day is the other side of the result. Always happens with Kevin Owens, it happened. With The Miz, it happens. With Sheamus, remember 2 years ago where every single night on Raw there was a Sheamus Dolph Ziggler match that was going 20 minutes. This happens with Dolph. It doesn't seem like he's very political backstage. He doesn't really fight for any type of spot. He's just the guy that they know they can put out there, and they do. They put him out there to lose, to win, whatever they feel like that day. Because these are 2 guys probably headed for one of the multi-man matches at WrestleMania. So right now, whatever singles thing they have going doesn't matter. They're just filling time until they're slotted in one of the multi-man matches.
Somebody says, should Banks and Reigns fans start preparing their celebration when they inevitably win at Mania? Yeah, probably.
If I had to pick right now, Reigns, I would say 98% he's winning at WrestleMania. I don't think there's a chance that Dean Ambrose wins the match at Roadblock and then they do that singles match at WrestleMania. No chance of that. So Reigns is winning. I would put Sasha probably at 75% because there's the chance you can give it to Becky. And there's also the chance that Charlotte could retain and then they do go to a singles program with either Sasha or Becky. But I would say Sasha's probably the odds-on favorite right now and will be all the way up until WrestleMania.
To finish up SmackDown, not to finish up, we went out of order, but our 9th Golden Truth vignette. They have done 11 segments.
What?
In all. 9th vignette.
Now, let me ask you this, Sean. Were you counting from the beginning, knowing this was going to be an endless thing? Or did you have to go back and research this? Were you doing some stat tracking?
A little bit of both. I was like, I bet this is going to go on forever. And I lost count and then had to go back and count. 9 vignettes that I counted. There may be more. 9 of them. Yeah.
I get a little OCD-ish like this, where I'm like, 2 weeks will go by and I'm like, man, I really wish I would have noted this 2 weeks ago so I can actually keep track. And I do that for everything, not wrestling stuff, personal life things. I want to write down Mitt Romney's name right now. So in 10 years, I can look back like, oh yeah, Mitt Romney was a thing. I just do this every once in a while. I'm like, why didn't I note this before? Why am I not keeping my own time capsule? And then I realize that's why Twitter is here.
Indeed. Yeah, that was SmackDown. We have people saying that the Styles Clash looks weird on bigger guys anyway. Yeah, and there's a lot of big guys in WWE. So
AJ Styles is on the shorter side. He's not going to be able to. He did the move to Abyss in TNA, but Abyss isn't that tall. Like he's wide and big, but he's not that tall. You saw when he tried to put it on rope. What's that?
Okada's pretty tall though.
Okada's tall for New Japan. Is he a couple inches shorter than Roman Reigns?
He's 6'3".
6'3". And that looked pretty good. Roman Reigns, though, you could see when he was trying to get that Styles Clash on, it just wasn't going.
Why do you have to make this an Asian thing, Rob?
I didn't think he was. I think there's deceptively tall, and then there's tall. Because in New Japan, when you're standing next to AJ Styles, anyone's going to be tall. And
Okay,
that's not a knock on AJ. He's just a shorter
how
guy.
tall do you think I am, Rob?
I've never seen all of Sean Ross Sapp, but I am going to guess. What?
Pervert.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a true statement nonetheless. I'm going to guess 6'1". Are you 6'1"?
I'm 6 feet tall.
You're 6 feet. Okay, I'm 5'11" and 5'6".
5'6". Well, hey, you know what?
Try saying 5'6" with a
Here's the
de-esser
thing.
coming through your
In
headphones.
WWE, you automatically add 2 inches.
Yeah.
Your build height.
Yeah,
Then
Chris
you get the
Jericho's like
lifts.
6'11".
Yeah. Then you get the lifts.
You get the lifts.
So that's another like maybe inch and a half. So gosh, I'm 6'3" or 6'4" in WWE.
Heights being exaggerated is obviously nothing new. I mean, Andre the Giant wasn't even 7 foot tall, you know, and
obviously,
that's the guy where everyone assumes. You talk about how tall was Andre the Giant. Oh, he was 7'2", 7'3". No, he was never 7 foot tall. It's been going around for a long time, and then it sticks with you. Like if someone asked, you know, how tall is Chris Jericho? I bet most people say he's at least 6 feet, and I think he's right there. I think he's right at 6 feet. But even that's a guy that looks really big standing next to AJ. So can you really trust a big time finisher when you're going up against really big names? If AJ is going to be in the main event scene, he's not hitting that on Big Show. He needs a secondary hold. So I'm all for them setting up multiple holds for AJ Styles.
Reader on Twitter asks what the logo down there is. It's the same thing that is up there. Kraken Fight Team. It's an MMA team that I have competed on and managed, and we do some pro wrestling stuff too. So yeah,
I don't still have my little thing, do I?
No, your nameplate is nowhere to be found.
I mean, I have the toolbox gimmick. I have everything turned on. I don't know what to do. I don't know what else to do. I'm lost. I'm just going to leave it the way it is because I'm worried if I keep hitting buttons here, I'm going to disconnect from you. And I would not want to do that here on my second night in. I don't want to get in trouble.
Well, since it's not up there, you all follow Rob at Shake Them Ropes. Somebody says, did you see Eric Young's pile driver on the fat guy? Good stuff. Eric Young has a hell of a pile driver.
Well, it looks good coming from Eric Young too, because he's got a good body type to kind of show off that move. Like he's a shorter guy, but he's pretty muscular. I mean, now I'm just super pervert guy. But he's got a good body. He's got a good body type. He's got the Jerry Lawler body type, honestly, for delivering that pile driver. You don't want to be doing it too tall because you kind of eliminate, how this guy is getting driven down into the mat. I got to stop talking because it's just sounding awful.
Acer says, very interesting heights. You'll tell me we have incredibly interesting sizes, apparently. It's something that Rob would say.
Okay.
Anyway, guys, big pay-per-view.
My size isn't interesting. It's just pretty lame.
Anyway, UFC 196 this Saturday. Rob will be there. I'll be covering it for the site. Hopefully, I'm going to be covering this from a hotel room in Columbus. Hopefully the Wi-Fi is good. What is it?
That's the dream.
Well, I'm hoping that the Wi-Fi, because you know how hotel internet is. It's very spotty at best. Horrible. And I actually ordered a mobile hotspot just to cover this in case I needed to, because I'll have to order this on UFC.tv.
What cell phone provider does Sean Ross Sapp have, if you may be willing to divulge?
Verizon.
Okay. And you don't have mobile hotspot on your phone already?
Well, it's a little bit different. This is like, I had to order this one for not for my phone, but for my computer. And I've already went over because they don't do the unlimited data anymore.
Okay.
So had to get that. Plus, you just never know how it'll hold up with that. Like, I've tethered it to my phone before and it didn't work out too well. So I'm going to give this a try. That's an emergency measure. But Conor McGregor versus Nate Diaz. We have had great lines in this short feud, such as Conor McGregor saying that he made fun of Nate Diaz for teaching kids jiu-jitsu. He said that he throws gang signs with his left hand and makes balloon animals with his right hand.
Yeah, that's impressive, man.
Yeah, that takes some incredible dexterity.
I don't know why UFC isn't showcasing the positive talents of Nate Diaz more.
The balloon animals.
Yeah, why
Oh
not?
God, that would
How
be
great would a
great.
segment? I know the segments have been pretty great. Them fighting at the press conference and doing all that, this and that. How great would it be if you're watching a UFC countdown and Nate Diaz is making balloon animals, and here comes Conor McGregor just poking him down with a pin? Like, what a dick! And the kids are crying in the background. That's a fight I would pay $100 to see.
I'd pay $100 to see this fight anyway. But also Nate Diaz today. I don't know if you've seen any of the videos that Conor McGregor has with his movement coach.
Oh, his movement coach.
Nate Diaz calls it playing butt touch in the park with some dork. So
okay. Yeah, we've all been there though. I never had to pay a coach to do that for me though.
Another great line. How much do you follow UFC? I know you have a bet on your other show that if CM Punk ever fights, you will eat a hat.
Yeah, CM Punk's never fighting, bro.
Yes, he is.
I totally just threw a bro in there too. I'm becoming bro guy, which is not a good thing. CM Punk is never fighting. Right now, he's out with his second injury in the last 3 months. He took a month off to film a crappy B-level movie. What?
He's gonna fight. He's gonna fight.
He's not. He's gonna talk a lot. He's gonna talk a lot.
Telling you, Rob. I know people in the camp. It's been a thing. He's gonna fight. He's gonna fight, Rob.
Oh, Mister, I know people in the camp. Well, you know who I know. You know who I know, sir. Mr. Common Sense. Common Sense tell me CM Punk is 38. I'm estimating with the ages again. He's 38
listen, Rob.
With a back injury. Let's listen. I understand the logic that CM Punk is a smart guy and he's angling. Have the back surgery now because I don't want to fight on 199. I want that 200 money. I get that. But I've been in this for a while. I can't back down now, right? I can't just back down because they've announced a fight. Because what could happen? CM Punk may very well think he's going to fight. Another injury could happen. Mickey Gall can become, Mickey Gall really and just kind of go away. There's a lot of stuff that can happen that will end up me being right. I'm playing the odds here. I'm playing the age. I'm playing the injuries. I'm playing that CM Punk isn't really, I don't think his heart is in it. I think his heart is in trying something new. But this guy took a month off to film a crappy movie. If his heart was in fighting, I don't think he does that. So I'm on this island right now. I got plenty of hats to choose from. If I lose this bet, I will eat a hat live on the air on YouTube, and people can watch me suffer in disgrace while they're suffering watching CM Punk try to fight.
Well, whenever you know people like I do, I'll value your opinion a little bit more, Rob.
Until I know
then,
people. Hey, listen to me.
Then, you know what? I'm getting married in September, and I'm going to put on the entree on my catering hats. I'm going to pay the extra money. I'll invite you. You can come, and in front of my whole wedding party, you can eat a hat.
Oh, wow. So now there's a time and a place for this bet to be served.
September 4th.
Ooh. Hold on. I'm busy. I'm busy that day. Oh, no.
You're washing your hair that day.
Yeah.
That's the
is it too obvious? Well, you know what happens?
It wasn't a jab.
You know what happens is I panicked. It's like 1 minute before we're getting onto the show, and I'm getting the lighting in here. I have a little desk lamp that I put up so it's not completely dark in here because we're on the East Coast. It's dark. I don't have a lot of hair, fellas. I don't know if you've seen. I'm a little the hair has left me. My dome was so shiny. I needed to get a hat on because I'm like, this is just going to reflect right in Sean's eyes. I'm going to be the reason why Sean can't see anymore. And this whole show goes down the tubes. So I did this for you, Sean. I did this for you. And now I know someone who knows people in CM Punk's camp. So I am equally as reliable to say CM Punk never fighting ever in the UFC.
Somebody says that CM Punk blocked them on Twitter. What a jerk. He blocked me on Twitter. And he did it the day after I mentioned that he hadn't blocked me on Twitter on the podcast, which is
I don't know. I don't think he's blocked me on Twitter, but like if he did vanity searching, I never tag him.
If you ever tag him and he sees like wrestling, almost anything like wrestling website, he'll probably block you. And you know what? That's his prerogative, whatever. Do you have a selection for the McGregor Diaz fight? Do you have a pick?
Not blocked by Mr. Constantinople, Mark Henry Punk. Do I have a pick for the Diaz fight? Yeah, I'm picking Conor McGregor. I'm picking Conor McGregor to go in there with his full camp behind him. This seems like one of those instances where after Saturday, we're going to find out that he was injured in some way. Like, it just seems like we're going to hear about something with Conor McGregor. So if he loses and an injury comes out, I'm not going to say he's trying to make excuses because it just seems like one of those nights. Like, Conor McGregor couldn't miss this fight for anything. Unless he physically couldn't walk, he was going to do this fight.
That's how he is all the time, too. I mean, he's fought with torn up knees. He completed his fight with Max Holloway with a torn ACL and then missed a year. And people keep talking about the reach advantage of Nate Diaz. It's only 2 inches. And the speed differential between the two, between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz, and one thing that is very underrated for both of these guys is their footwork. And I'll talk about that a little bit later. Conor McGregor has just masterful footwork, and that takes his striking a really, really long way. His accuracy is also something underrated, which contributes to his power. And I think that's something I can't say that Diaz hasn't seen before, because Diaz is used to fighting people that are that size. Conor McGregor is the featherweight champion, jumping up 25 pounds to fight a guy on 10 days notice. That's unheard of. And I hear a lot of people say that his drawing power will be hurt if he loses. It will be a little bit.
It would have been no matter what. You know?
Yeah, it will be a little bit, but you have a ready-made excuse. Conor McGregor is fighting a guy, a former title challenger, 25 pounds up on 10 days notice. There's not a lot of lose for this. And if they do a rematch, it would be huge. If he wins, he can challenge either Dos Anjos or Robbie Lawler. And I thought the Robbie Lawler thing was a joke at first. My friend who I mentioned yesterday, Corey Cropper, about a month or two ago said, I'd like to see Robbie Lawler fight Conor McGregor. And I was like, whatever. Then I thought about it, the stylistic matchup. Robbie Lawler ain't taking him down, guys. That would be a slugfest. So I'm going with Conor McGregor, in short.
I'm going with Conor McGregor. If he wins this match, then yes. And if he wins and is relatively unscathed, UFC 200 is going to have the McGregor-Robbie Lawler fight. It's going to happen at UFC 200. And you're right. You're absolutely right. If Conor McGregor loses, the worst case scenario is he goes back to defending his title. And he still has that marquee championship, the marquee name, the marquee chance to headline pay-per-views. He very well could go for the title of Dos Anjos again. This guy, his drawing power in the United States might be hurt a little bit as far as getting Irish fans to come on over. But if they went and held a big show in Ireland, it's going to do huge numbers. So they still have potential with Conor McGregor. He can go to Boston. You know, they could headline a Boston show with Conor McGregor and sell out the TD Ameritrade Waterhouse building of gardens of everything. So they could do whatever they want with Conor McGregor, whether he wins or loses. But you're burying the lead of the show. You're burying it.
I'm getting to it. What do you think? Miesha Tate, Holly Holm, Women's Bantamweight Championship. This is a very interesting match because Miesha Tate, although she got mollywopped by Ronda Rousey twice, is a very interesting matchup for Holly Holm.
Yeah, Miesha Tate's coming in here like dollar signs in her eyes. Thank God that Ronda Rousey lost, because this is the fight I can win. And Miesha Tate's going to throw all this into chaos, because now you will have a woman who beat Ronda and Miesha Tate, who probably, is going to have to defend against Ronda if she wins this championship. So you have this 3-way division, and it's chaos, because I still think Ronda Rousey's the best one of the 3. And we won't really know what's going to happen with this division. It's going to be thrown into chaos. I'm going Miesha Tate, partially because I think she really can win, but mostly because I just want to see her win and throw this all into absolute hell. Because a Tate Rousey rematch, while it's lessened because they've done it so often, Tate is still much better on TV and radio than Holly Holm. Holly Holm is a fantastic fighter, but she is an athlete who's focused on that and does not have an entertainment side to her. So there are a lot of options. I think Miesha Tate's going to win this one, and I think it'll be a long fight. I think it's going to go all the way, and Miesha Tate somehow is going to ride out of here, and then Conor McGregor is going to have to follow that.
Well, I'll
You
speak
will,
about
pretty easily,
this. I'll speak about this at length on Saturday's podcast, but I think if Holly Holm wins, it can go one of two ways: a short, succinct beatdown, or a sustained 5-round jab, get out of the way type of thing. If Miesha Tate wins, I think it's going to be ugly, and it's probably not going to be a crowd pleaser for the fans. It'll be a lot of wrestling, cage clinch, things like that. Here's the thing, and I said this way before the Rousey fight. If you go back and look at Holmes' fights before she got to the UFC and when she got to the UFC, it's like no matter who she faced, it's like they were Ronda Rousey. She fought them like they were Ronda Rousey, no matter what their strengths were or their weaknesses were. So if she's fighting Jabroni, whoever in Legacy FC, she's pretending they're Ronda Rousey. So if they try to clinch with her, she backs out of the clinch because she doesn't want to get sent ass over tea kettle by the person she's pretending is Ronda Rousey. She uses her jab. She uses her range. I think she fought Raquel Pennington, and it's like she didn't use all of her tools because it's almost like she was pretending that was Ronda Rousey, and that worked out because she beat the brakes off of Ronda Rousey. And Ronda Rousey had some distractions, had a terrible, terrible coach. I don't think it's any coincidence that half of her team left, or not half, but a lot of her big name teammates left that camp in the previous year. But this is a big test for Holly Holm because this isn't Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is not going to, or Miesha Tate, I would imagine, is not going to walk right into Holly Holm's strengths the way that Ronda Rousey did. But we'll see, and we will have a podcast right after UFC 196 on Saturday night. So guys, tune into that. Rob, any parting words?
The NHL playoffs go through June, I believe.
Yeah. Oh God, this.
They go through June. CM Punk ain't training in May and June. He's going to follow his little hockey team, his little club hockey team around the country to see if they can win the trophy cup thing or whatever it is. And, he's going to have to take a couple of months off. He's got other things going on. CM Punk ain't fighting. CM Punk ain't fighting in July. CM Punk ain't fighting in August. The mistake I made, Sean, was making the bet that CM Punk wouldn't fight ever in UFC, because I made this bet in 2014 when he signed. I could have said in the next year, and I would have been way safe. I could have said the next year and a half, and I could have been pretty safe. I'm a little worried. I'm not going to lie. I'm a little sweaty right now. I'm a little sweaty, but I feel somewhat confident that CM Punk won't fight. But this has been a fun week. This is the 4th podcast I've done in a row. Not as a brag or whatever. It's just a lot of talking and my voice is going. You're an excellent host. This has been a absolutely fun time. I'm sorry that Raj couldn't join us tonight because I haven't gotten a chance to talk to Raj, personally, just through email. So that'll be a fun time next week if we can get Raj back on the show. But this has been fun. I want to thank everyone for the kind words. I mean, if you leave a comment on the Wrestling Inc. post with this video and audio in it later, there were a couple of nice words said to me and about me. So I want to thank you for having kind thoughts about me, and let this be known. Those who had the kind thoughts and actually spoke them out loud, you are one of a very few number of people. You should feel very special.
Somebody says maybe you're sweating because you have on a lot of heavy clothing.
I have on so much clothing. It's absolutely the reason why I'm sweating. I have a light shining right at me. I have another light shining right at me. The heat is on because it's 25 degrees outside. I'm wearing this hat as a panic because otherwise, super shiny head. Can't have that. So I got a lot going on. I'm wearing the sweater and 2 t-shirts, by the way, 2 t-shirts. So I'm wearing way too many clothes, and now my headphones are all over my face. It's just the wackiest way to go out of the show.
Well, Rob, I got to say personally, I've loved doing these shows with you. Looking forward to next Wednesday and Thursday again. Guys, support the podcasts on it.com/wrestling, ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Again, if you are in Columbus, send me a tweet at Sean Ross Sapp. Come say hi to me if you're at the NXT shows Saturday, Sunday at the Arnold Sports Festival. I'd love to say hi to you all. Unless you're mean to me, then, then go to hell.
Yes. One more thing, Sean. Remember, I gave you homework last night.
Yeah.
Did you go back and rewatch the Emma and Santana Garrett entrance?
Oh, I didn't. I'm going to do that tonight.
Go back and watch it. I want to hear your thoughts next week on the show, because once I said that, we got a ton of tweets coming at Shake Them Ropes, and I think at Wrestling Inc. too. Everyone who's gone back and watched it has seen the same music was played twice in a row, just a slight remix. They played Emma's theme twice in an Emma match. It was absolutely fantastic, and that's all for me.
Well, guys, thank you very much. Again, onnit.com/wrestling, ddpyoga.com/wrestling inc. Follow Rob at Shake Them Ropes. Follow me at Sean Ross Sapp. We will see you guys Saturday. Join us for our post UFC 196 show. We will catch you later.